The call came in at 6:47 on a Tuesday evening, right as I was transferring the last $4,200 to the florist. That was the final piece. $12,000 total. Wired over the course of 5 months, all for my little brother's wedding. The venue deposit, the catering, the photographer, the DJ, the flowers. Every single vendor had my name on the contract because my brother's credit score was somewhere in the low 500s and his fiancée's wasn't much better. I didn't mind. That's what big sisters do, right? You show up. You carry the weight. You make it happen. My phone buzzed and I saw my mom's name on the screen. I picked up, still smiling, still riding that little glow you get when you do something generous for someone you love. "Hey, sweetie," she said, her voice bright and clipped the way it always gets when she's about to ask me for something. "So, we finalized the seating chart tonight, and I just want to give you a heads up so there's no drama at the reception." "Okay," I said slowly. "We put you at table 9. It's near the back, by the bar. It's a lovely spot, honestly. You'll be with some of Jake's college friends and a few of Brittany's coworkers." I blinked. Table 9. The back of the room, near the bar. "What about the family table?" I asked, and I hated how small my voice sounded. A pause. A long, careful pause that told me everything before she even opened her mouth. "The head table is for immediate family, Maya. You understand. Jake, Brittany, us. Brittany's parents, her sister. It's a small table. We can't fit everyone." "I'm his sister," I said. Another pause. "You know what I mean, honey. It's just the inner circle, the people closest to the couple. Don't make this into a thing." I stood in my kitchen, holding my phone so tight, my knuckles ached. The people closest to the couple. I had spent every Saturday for the past 3 months driving Brittany to cake tastings and dress fittings. I had taken 2 days off work to tour 5 different venues until we found one they loved, one I could afford. I had sat on the phone with the caterer for 45 minutes, arguing about the price of shrimp cocktail because Jake said he really wanted shrimp cocktail. And I was table 9, near the bar, with strangers. "Mom," I said carefully, my throat tight. "I paid for this entire wedding. And we appreciate that," she said quickly, almost rehearsed, like she'd been practicing this exact line. "But the seating is about the ceremony, not the finances. It would be awkward to shuffle things around now. Everyone's already been told." I opened my mouth and nothing came out. The room tilted slightly, and I grabbed the edge of the counter to steady myself. Because it wasn't just the table. It was everything. It was 29 years of being the responsible one. The one who fixed things. The one who paid for things. The one who showed up early and stayed late and never, not once, got the same warmth they poured into my brother like sunlight through a window. Jake was their miracle. Mom had 2 miscarriages before he was born, and when he finally arrived, screaming and perfect, it was like the universe had answered a prayer. I was 7 years old, and I remember standing in the hospital hallway watching my father cry for the first time in my life. Not because of me. Never because of me. Because of Jake. From that day forward, everything orbited around him. His baseball games, his grades, his feelings, his dreams. And me? I was the moon, always there, always invisible unless someone needed something. I didn't realize I was crying until I felt the tear hit the back of my hand. "Mom," I whispered. "I'll call you back." I hung up before she could say anything else. Then I stood in my kitchen for a long time, phone pressed against my chest, breathing through the kind of pain that doesn't have edges. It just fills you up like water, slow and cold and total. My phone buzzed. A text from Jake. "Hey sis. Mom said she talked to you about the seating. Thanks for being cool about it. You're the best. Can't wait for the big day. 3 exclamation marks. A smiley face, like he'd just asked me to pass the salt. I didn't reply. I set the phone face down on the counter and walked to my bedroom. I sat on the edge of the bed and stared at my hands. They were shaking. Not from anger, not yet. From something deeper. From the slow, dawning realization that no amount of money, no amount of sacrifice, no amount of love would ever buy me a seat at their table. Not the head table. Not any table that mattered. I barely slept that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that seating chart in my head, my name scrawled at the edge of the room like an afterthought. Table 9. I kept turning the number over like a stone, feeling its weight. 9 tables away from the people I'd given everything for. Around 2 a.m., I got up and opened my laptop. I pulled up every receipt, every contract, every email confirmation. The venue $4,500 deposit, my credit card. The photographer $2,800. My signature on the agreement. The caterer $3,100, invoice addressed to me. The florist $4,200, just transferred that evening. The DJ $1,400, paid in full 3 weeks ago. $12,000. My name, my credit, my guarantees. And I wasn't family enough for the head table. Something shifted inside me. Not a snap, more like a deadbolt sliding into place. A decision made not in rage, but in something quieter and far more permanent. I closed the laptop, lay back on the bed, and for the first time all night, I felt perfectly calm. I waited until morning. I needed to be sure this wasn't just hurt talking, wasn't just 2 a.m. bravery that would crumble by sunrise. But when I woke up at 7:15 and the first thing I thought was table 9, I knew. I called the venue first. The event coordinator, a woman named Patricia, picked up on the third ring. Hi Patricia, this is Maya Chen. I'm the contract holder for the Dawson-Mitchell wedding on October 12th. Oh, hi, Maya. What can I do for you? I need to cancel the reservation. Silence, a long one. I'm sorry. Could you repeat that? I'm canceling. I'll need the deposit refunded to my card on file. Per the contract, there's a 60-day cancellation policy, and the wedding is still 73 days out, so the full amount should be returned within 10 business days. More silence. Then, cautiously, does the groom know about this? The contract is in my name, I said. My voice was steady. My hands were steady. Everything about me was steady for the first time in years. I don't need anyone else's permission. She processed the cancellation while I held, and I listened to the hold music, some tinny jazz standard, and felt absolutely nothing. No guilt, no panic. Just the clean, sharp clarity of a person who has finally stopped pretending. Next, I called the photographer. Same conversation. Same stunned silence. Same result. Then the caterer. Then the florist. Then the DJ. 5 calls. 43 minutes. $12,000 clawed back from a wedding that had my money but not my name on the family table. By 9:30 a.m., it was done. Every vendor either canceled or refunded. The October 12th wedding of Jake Dawson and Brittany Mitchell had just lost its venue, its food, its music, its flowers, and its photographer. I made myself a cup of coffee, real coffee, not the cheap instant stuff I'd been drinking for months, while funneling every spare cent into their celebration, and sat by the window. The sun was warm on my face. I drank slowly. I breathed slowly. I waited. It took exactly 2 hours and 14 minutes. My phone erupted at 11:44 a.m., Jake's name, flashing and insistent. I answered. Maya, what the hell did you do? His voice was high, cracking with panic. The venue just called Brittany and said the reservation's been canceled. What is going on? I canceled it, I said. You what? Why? Are you insane? I took a sip of coffee, because the contract was in my name. All of them were, and I've decided I don't want my name attached to an event where I'm not considered family. Silence. Then, this is about the seating chart? Are you serious right now? It's a table, Maya. A table. $12,000, Jake. That's what I paid. And I'm not even allowed to sit with my own family. You're blowing this out of proportion. Mom said you'd be dramatic about it. She said. What did Mom say, Jake? That I should be grateful? That I should shut up and smile from the back of the room while everyone toasts a wedding I paid for? His breathing was ragged. I could hear Brittany in the background, her voice shrill and panicked. What is she saying? What is she saying? Fix this, he said. His voice dropped to something cold and unfamiliar. Fix this right now, or I swear to God, Maya. Or what? I asked, and my voice was so calm it frightened even me. "What are you going to do, Jake? Stop talking to me? Stop inviting me to things? You already did that when you put me at table 9. He hung up. I set the phone down and finished my coffee. The second wave hit within the hour. Mom called 4 times. I let it ring. Dad called twice. I let it ring. Then a text from Mom, all caps, "Maya, call me right now. This is not a joke. You are destroying your brother's wedding." I read it twice, then typed back one line. "I'm not destroying anything. I'm just not paying for it anymore." Then I set the phone to silent. But I didn't block them. Not yet. I wanted them to feel the silence the way I'd felt it for 29 years. The silence of being overlooked. The silence of being needed but never wanted. I wanted them to send their messages into the void and wonder why no one was answering, the way I'd spent my whole life wondering why no one ever truly saw me. The afternoon was almost peaceful. I cleaned my apartment. I did laundry. I organized the folder of receipts and contracts, printed hard copies, and filed them neatly in a manila envelope. Armor, just in case. At 3:15 p.m., my dad finally left a voicemail. I played it once. His voice was thick, with that particular brand of fury he reserved for moments when someone in the family stepped out of line, meaning when someone challenged him. "Maya, this is your father. What you've done is unforgivable. You have humiliated this entire family. Your brother is devastated. Brittany is in tears. Your mother can barely speak. You need to call those vendors back, reinstate everything, and apologize. If you don't do this by tomorrow, you are no longer welcome in our home. Do you understand me? No longer welcome." I saved the voicemail. Not because it hurt, it did, somewhere deep and old, but because I knew I might need it later. Proof. Evidence. A recording of exactly who they were when their convenience was threatened. No longer welcome. Funny. I hadn't been welcome in any way that mattered since I was 7 years old, and a baby boy came home from the hospital and stole my entire world. At 5 p.m., Mom tried a different approach. A long, winding text that started soft and turned sharp by the second paragraph. "Maya, sweetheart, I know you're upset and I understand. The seating thing was a miscommunication. We can talk about it. But what you've done is extreme and hurtful and frankly selfish. Your brother has been planning this wedding for a year. Brittany's family flew in from Ohio. Think about someone other than yourself for once. For once." I read that line 3 times. For once. As if I hadn't spent my entire adult life thinking about them first, paying their way, covering their mistakes, absorbing their disappointments. For once. I didn't reply. At 7:30 p.m., Brittany texted me directly. We'd never been close. She'd always treated me with that particular brand of sweetness that dissolves the moment you're not useful. "Maya, I don't know what's going on between you and your family, but this is my wedding too. You're ruining the most important day of my life. If you have any decency at all, you'll fix this." I stared at the message. My wedding. My life. My day. Not a single word about the money. Not a single acknowledgement that I was the reason any of this existed in the first place. I typed back slowly, deliberately. "Brittany, every contract for your wedding is in my name because Jake's credit wouldn't qualify. The venue, the caterer, the photographer, the florist, the DJ, all me. 12, zero total." And when the seating chart was made, I wasn't placed with the family. I was put at table 9, in the back, with strangers. If I'm not family enough to sit with you, I'm not family enough to fund you. I hope you find another way. I genuinely do. But it won't be through me. I sent it and felt something lift off my shoulders. Not guilt, I'd carried that long enough. Something heavier. The weight of pretending. Night fell. I heated up leftover pasta, poured a glass of wine, and sat in the dark, phone still on silent, screen flashing with notifications I didn't read. They were panicking. I could feel it. The wedding was 10 weeks away, and every major vendor had just evaporated. The deposit refunds would take days. Even if they scrambled to rebook, they'd need new contracts, new credit, new money, none of which Jake or my parents had. They built the entire wedding on my back, and I'd simply stood up. Around 10 p.m., I finally looked at my phone. 47 notifications, texts, calls, voicemails. I scrolled through them with the detached curiosity of someone reading about a stranger's crisis. Jake, you're dead to me. Mom. I can't believe I raised someone so cruel. Dad, you've broken your mother's heart. I hope you're proud. Jake again. Brittany's been crying for 6 hours. SIX hours. Are you happy now? I stopped scrolling. Read that last one again. 6 hours. His fiancée had been crying for 6 hours, and his instinct was to text me, the person who'd paid for everything, and demand I fix it. Not to comfort her. Not to find a solution himself. To come to me, the wallet, the fixer, the one they always came to. And that was when I knew, with absolute certainty, that I'd made the right choice. I slept soundly for the first time in months. The next morning, Wednesday, I woke to a final voicemail from my father. I almost deleted it without listening, but something told me to hear it. One last time. His voice was different now. Not furious, exhausted. Deflated. Like someone had let the air out of him overnight. Maya, I spoke to your mother, and we've decided. If this is how you're going to treat your family, then we have nothing left to say to you. You are not welcome at the wedding. Not welcome at Thanksgiving. Not welcome at Christmas. As far as we're concerned. You've made your choice. Don't bother calling. I played it twice. Saved it. Added it to the folder. Then I picked up my phone and did what I should have done years ago. I blocked Jake's number. I blocked Mom's. I blocked Dad's. I blocked Brittany's. One by one. Clean and quick, like pulling off bandages. Each block felt like setting down a stone I'd been carrying since childhood. My shoulders lifted. My jaw unclenched. My breathing slowed. Done. All of them gone. I made coffee, sat by the window, and watched the morning unfold. Joggers passed on the sidewalk. A woman walked her golden retriever. The mailman made his rounds. Ordinary life, continuing without catastrophe. Without my family's gravitational pull bending everything toward their needs. I thought about calling my best friend, Priya, but decided against it. Not yet. I wanted to sit with this feeling a little longer. This new, unfamiliar, quiet that wasn't loneliness, it was space. Room to exist without performing. Room to breathe without calculating who needed what from me next. Thursday passed. Then Friday. The silence held. No calls. No texts. They couldn't reach me now, and I doubt they tried to find another way. That was the thing about people who treat you like a utility. Once you disconnect the service, they don't come knocking on your door. They just look for the next outlet. On Saturday morning, I sat in my quiet apartment, drinking coffee from a mug I'd bought at a street market on a trip I'd almost skipped because Jake had needed money for car repairs that month. I'd gone anyway. One of the few times I chose myself, and I'd found this mug deep blue with a cracked gold rim, imperfect and beautiful, and it had felt like a small rebellion. Now it felt like a prophecy. I opened my laptop and pulled up my social media. I hadn't posted in weeks, too busy vendor wrangling for a wedding I wasn't welcome at. My brother's page was full of engagement photos and countdown posts. Brittany's was a cascade of bridal content gown reveals, flower mood boards, bachelorette trip recaps, all glossy, all aspirational, all funded entirely by me without a single mention, not even a thank you, not even a tagged post that said my sister made this possible. I sat with that knowledge for a moment. Then I opened a new post. I kept it simple. No rage. No drama. Just the truth. Laid out like receipts on a table because that's exactly what I attached. Screenshots of every payment confirmation. Every vendor contract with my name at the top. Every wire transfer from my bank account. And a short caption. For the past 5 months, I've paid $12,000 for my brother's wedding. Every vendor venue. Photographer, caterer, florist. DJ is contracted under my name and my credit. Last week I was told I wouldn't be seated with the family at the reception. The head table is for immediate family, my mom said. So I canceled everything. Because if I'm not family enough to sit with them, I'm not family enough to pay for them. I wish Jake and Brittany the best. I genuinely hope they find a way to have their day. But it won't be on my dime. I'm done being the family ATM. I posted it. Then I closed the laptop, finished my coffee, and went for a walk. When I came back 2 hours later, the post had 347 reactions and 89 comments. I didn't read them. I didn't need to. The truth was out there now, no longer mine to carry alone, and whatever happened next, whether they scrambled to rebuild, whether relatives took sides, whether my parents spun some story about their ungrateful daughter, it didn't matter. Because the receipts were public. The numbers were real. And, for the first time in my life, I didn't have to explain myself. 3 weeks passed. The wedding did not happen on October 12th. I found out through a mutual cousin who texted me quietly, not taking sides, just letting me know. Jake and Brittany postponed indefinitely. Something about needing to reevaluate finances. The venue had been rebooked by another couple within days of my cancellation. The photographer had filled the slot. The caterer wasn't available for a new date until spring. $12,000 of planning. Gone. Not because I was cruel, because I stopped being convenient. The cousin also told me, carefully, that my parents had been telling people I'd had a breakdown. That I was jealous of Jake's happiness. That I'd always been difficult. The old narrative, the one where the person who gives the most is somehow the problem. I thanked her for letting me know. Then I put my phone down and looked around my apartment. Clean, quiet. Mine. I'd redecorated a little since cutting them off. New throw pillows, a secondhand bookshelf, a small plant on the windowsill that I watered every morning. Tiny things, but they mattered. They were choices I'd made for myself, with money that was mine, for a space that was mine. I hadn't realized how much of my life had been shaped around their needs until the needs disappeared. Suddenly, I had weekends. I had savings again. I had Saturday mornings where I could sit and read without my phone buzzing with another favor, another crisis, another. Can you just? I could breathe. One evening, about 6 weeks after everything fell apart, I was cooking dinner, actually cooking. Not microwaving something between errands when my doorbell rang. I wiped my hands on a towel and opened the door. It was Jake. He looked terrible. Thinner, dark circles under his eyes. He stood on my doorstep in a wrinkled jacket. And for a split second, the old Maya surged up inside me, the fixer, the helper, the sister who would do anything. But I held my ground. What are you doing here, Jake? He swallowed hard. I need to talk to you. I leaned against the door frame. I didn't invite him in. You can talk. He stared at the ground. Brittany left me. She said she couldn't marry someone whose family was this messed up. Her parents were embarrassed. The whole thing it fell apart. I waited. Mom and Dad won't help. Dad said he's not spending his retirement on a wedding. Mom says they can't afford it. They told me to figure it out on my own. There it was. The answer to the question no one in my family had ever wanted to face. Why didn't the parents help? Because they never had to. Because I was always there. Because, as long as Maya existed as their personal bank account, they never had to open their own wallets or face their own limitations. I'm sorry that happened, I said. And I meant it. I was sorry for him, for the mess, for all of it. But I wasn't sorry for what I'd done. He looked up, eyes wet. Is there any way? No, I said. Quietly, but final. No, Jake, I can't. His face crumbled. I watched the exact moment he realized I wasn't going to save him. It was the same face he'd made as a kid when Mom would say, "Wait your turn," and he'd look around the room for someone to override her. He'd always found someone. Usually me. Not this time. He left without another word. I closed the door, turned the lock, and went back to my stir-fry. The onions were starting to burn. I lowered the heat, stirred slowly, and let the evening settle around me. I didn't feel triumphant. I didn't feel guilty. I felt something more honest than either. I felt finished. The way you feel when you close a book you've been reading for too long, one you kept hoping would get better, but never did. That night, I ate dinner at my little kitchen table. Alone, with a glass of wine and the window cracked open. The autumn air was cool and smelled like rain. Somewhere down the street, someone was playing guitar not well, but with heart, stumbling through chords like they were learning something new. I listened and I smiled, because that's what I was doing too. Learning something new. Learning what it felt like to be enough without earning it. To take up space without paying for the privilege. My phone sat dark and silent on the counter. No missed calls, no frantic texts, no voicemails dripping with manipulation. Just quiet. Just peace. Just me. And that was enough. For the first time in 29 years, that was more than enough.